Hey everybody, welcome to another great episode of Panic Attacking, the podcast where we talk about anxiety with a comedy twist. My name is Andrew Chavone.
And I'm Steven Rogers.
This is a fantastic episode. We just finished recording, everybody, giving you a heads up. Heads up of what happened. What you're about to listen to.
TLDR.
We talk about the anxiety of buying oysters in rural Virginia and how it felt like you were about to get murdered.
Yeah. I talk about my new problem with the Reels journey and having to start a new Instagram account from scratch.
And headlining.
And headlining and meeting one of our listeners.
And Brian Regan gave him a phone call.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that. Or we do talk about that. I talk about college reunion and the anxiety things that came out of that.
Yeah, and we also get into listener topics such as when you have a very expensive item and you're out to eat at a restaurant and you get a table that's not in view of your item that's left outside.
Yes, and when the anxiety you get when you just see a big paragraph.
Yeah, and what comes with reading those.
Yeah, so it's a little simple, but we get in, we unpack it, we unparagraph it. So... Thanks for listening, everyone. We join the Patreon. $5 a month gets you 4 bonus episodes of anxiety we are too ashamed to talk about in public.
Yes. And YouTube. Check it out. It's really fun. You get to see us be this funny visually.
Yes, and all the links are in the description. We are happy to be on the Helium Network, and our website is in the description as well. So thanks for your support, everyone. We're growing every day.
Yes, not physically. Thank you, everybody, and stay tuned for the intro.
Stay tuned.
My heart starts beating really fast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Like we were talking before the mic started on, we had the craziest week of our lives, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like this is you and I. You know, like when in the beginning of Dumb and Dumber, when it shows Harry and Lloyd's day, and then they come home to the apartment together, and they had like they're exhausted.
Yeah.
And they just meet in the walkway. That was us when we walked into this apartment.
Yeah, I just dropped Maddie off at Wild 'N Out Studios.
Wow.
Fought through traffic because I guess they're filming in Jersey City. I fought through all the traffic there, and I got in. Just had time to put some dishes in the sink before you got here. It was a pretty big mess that I'm ashamed of.
Yeah, I saw a parakeet with its head ripped off in there, and I just got back from Houston, Texas, landed, and was like right around the time that you and I were going to record, and then I texted you, and you're like, can you bump it back to this? I'm like, great. And then,
oh, great. Okay.
And then it kept going back. I'm like, this guy's helping me out big time.
Oh,
I was fried.
I felt so bad. I'm like, oh man, I'm messing up his whole day. I got to push it back 2 hours.
No,
I didn't know it was. We had brunch plans with her mom, but I didn't know those were in Jersey City. So, oh my God.
We should mention if you're not watching on YouTube, you should be, because a item that was mentioned in a previous episode is now a part of our studio.
Thanks to me not losing my wallet, we now have a Cobra Fang behind us.
This is so cool.
And Maddie got this from Wild 'N Out, I think, a Moon Man. So,
oh yeah, the MTV guy.
Yeah, so this is, we'll keep adding to core here, but
I hope they pay her. This is all they gave her?
Yeah, that's a direct deposit, actually. Just shows up in your bank account. You have a Moon Man in there.
Let me guess, the card said you're out of this world.
Yeah, right. It's actually a Michael Jackson theme song started playing that he moonwalks to.
They said your talent is not a hoax.
Kubrick be damned. So I don't know where to begin. So I'll just give a quick recap of my week.
Please.
To you. We recorded. I went to Richmond, Virginia.
Yes.
Then I went to Montrose, Virginia to see my parents. Flew back here. Maddie had her birthday party that went super late. Friday, I had to go to a show in Northern Jersey, drive back, and then go to a show in Philly on Saturday. Went to Wild 'N Out Studios back in Jersey on Sunday, and now I am settled in with you.
Wow.
Everything is now it's settling down.
That's great. I'll do a summary and then we'll get into what made us anxious, so everyone knows what we're
Yeah,
what
please.
we went through.
Please.
I've been in Houston until today. I flew back left 6 a.m. Houston time
This morning?
this morning.
Oh my God.
And then got here and I'm fried.
Okay, great. That's a good energy for the podcast. Just completely fried in a shell.
I mean, it looks like we're both shells.
Your
right now.
your energy's pretty good thoh.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I care about the show.
Okay,
And
great.
you.
I saw you did Bobby Kelly's podcast. What was that about?
It was crazy. Joe List was guest hosting the podcast and asked me to be one of the guests. I've never been on, you know what, dude. I know you have in the past.
How was it?
It was really fun.
Well, if you're listening from You Know What, dude, what's up, everybody?
Yeah. Hey, dude.
Hey, dude.
And I did that, which was nerve-wracking. I was still nervous, even though it wasn't. Bobby wasn't there.
It is nerve-wracking. Yeah, the first time I did it, it was guest hosted by Chris Scopo, who keeps coming up on here. And I was nervous too, because that studio is intimidating.
It's a very intimidating studio. Thankfully, that's where Greg does his sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So I've been in there before, but still, just like the you know what dude thing, the producers, the 4 microphones that got Robert Kelly's picture on them. I'm like, oh God, I don't know, I don't want to bomb. And then it's just all my friends. It was Donnelly, Isabel, and Joe.
It's good when the whole podcast is just talking.
Yeah.
It's not like trivia or I don't know what else podcasts do.
Yeah, I felt way better. But they gave me crap on the podcast because Donnelly called me out on when my father was in town.
Yeah.
Donnelly had messaged me and I had not gotten back to Donnelly.
Okay.
So he called me out on not texting him back.
Well, that's what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Steve Rogers MO.
It's the Steve Rogers MO, which I'm working on. And
I asked you a question last night, and then I got back.
I was asleep.
I got a text back via Siri this morning. Still good for the pod? Didn't even answer my question.
Well, I was saving it for this.
I know.
But I have you. There's pin. You're allowed. I got a new phone. You're allowed 3 pin people at the top, and you're right. You're up there. Yeah.
I'm on the speed dial.
You're on the speed dial. So I'm never. You're good. Donnelly's not on there, but
I wouldn't. Yeah, slow dial for him.
But yeah, I was in my head about they were all roasting me for not texting, but I'm trying to not be in my phone as much. And
yeah, but you have to do that for to be a comedian.
Yeah, so I'm working on it.
Yeah, well, that's another topic we'll get into soon.
Yeah. What about you?
What about me? What do you want to get into first?
I guess, yeah. What do you want me or first or you?
I guess we'll ping pong.
Yeah.
So you talked about the Sean Donnelly thing. He's number 1 on my block number list. But I'll do the first trip. So we recorded, flew down to Richmond, Virginia on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
It was like my college. I hinted at it last week, and I said I'd have stories about it. Flew down. Maddie and I went together. My friend picked us up from the airport, and it was. I thought it was going to be like everyone I knew from college. It was just like a handful of people, and then these older people from college that also were part of the event.
Oh, anybody that's been an alumni, not just your year.
Yeah. And man, the older people that came, I guess the people who are successful and have families didn't come. And I don't have kids, so neither do my friends. But the people who don't have kids and are older are these sad alcoholics. Like imagine Bluto from Animal House, 30 years after the movie. He's not going to be a successful man. He got 0.0 GPA. That's what these guys were. These freak older frat people.
What did you guys do? What were the activities?
Well, first they met at a bar, of course.
Sure. Breakfast.
These guys aren't. Yeah, right. These guys aren't good planners, I guess. So met in a bar, and it was cool to see people I haven't seen in a long time. One guy was like, "I heard you have a podcast. And I was like, yeah. And he pulled it up. He pulled up his app and he said, put it in. I was like, all right. That was like how he said hello. So, hi, Aaron. I know you're probably listening.
Hey, Aaron.
That was the exact convo. You have a podcast? Yeah.
Put it in.
Put it in. I just put it into his Podbean or whatever. And then I put it into his app.
Wow, app play. Oh, man.
So we just saw everyone and joked around. It's hard. It's hard when you have a reunion of people you haven't seen because people want to catch up one-on-one, but then you're like, I'm spending too much time on this one guy.
Right.
I got all these other people I haven't seen, you know? So,
Right.
So one guy, you know, is telling me about his stepdaughter or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, that's great, man. All right. You know, now it's, you know, the clock's ticking over here.
They should have like the speed dating
They
bell.
should have a speed dating.
They need the speed dating bell for reunions. What do you do?
That'd be so good.
It's the same questions. What do you do?
How's everything?
Yeah, yeah.
How's everything? Bing. All right. See you in 10 years.
All right. On to the next one.
Yeah. So it was like, then I was like, walking, you know, I'm like, all right. Now I'm just stuck talking to another person for too long. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, well, I got all these other people, and people are starting to leave. I'm like, no, I haven't seen you. And then, you know, well, we're talking. I'm like, am I getting the most out of this catching up, or just talking about like sports or something? I'm like,
Right.
You know, I don't know. Whatever. This could all be done by a group text, but I guess we flew here for a reason.
Yeah. You didn't know that you're going to be hanging out with all the slow dials.
Yep.
Don't put it in.
So that was Friday, and that was fun. And then Saturday they had like more organized events. Like they rented out. It's pretty weird because Saturday we hung around the city of Richmond, which I hadn't been to in like 14 years.
Right.
And I'm like, great, we're gonna hang out at the old stomping grounds.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, no, we're hanging out at remember the warehouse district nobody went to because you'd get stabbed? And I was like, yeah, well, that's now a bowling alley and a brewery. And
Of course it's a brewery.
Of course it's a brewery. There's like 5 breweries, a barbecue place, a shuffleboard court, where like the place where no one went. So I'm like, all right, I'll go here. I'm like, this isn't fun at all. I don't care about this place.
Right. So your whole college town has changed.
It's changed, yeah. So then the next day, or the later in the day, they're like, I remember that downtown with all the broken windows and the trash cans on fire. Well, now that's a art district with dive bars and
Wow.
and wine tasting. So we went to the demilitarized zone from when I went to college. It's now some kind of like rejuvenated place. I'm like, what is this? I don't want to hang out here. I don't know what this place is.
Yeah, you're mad it's not scary anymore.
I'm not. Yeah, it's like what? I don't have any nostalgia about like a wine tasting that started in 2019. I don't care about
You're not
this.
supposed to be in this neighborhood in the dark.
Right? Yeah. What is this? I felt like it was virtual reality of my college. You know, like some kind of like fake recreation.
It's like a Sims. They cleaned it up and
they did. Yeah, they like hit delete. I don't know. I never play those games, but
I haven't either.
Ever play Minecraft or something?
My nephew played. I can't get behind how bad the graphics are. I know that's the point, like one of the things about it, but it's just all squares.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't know it either. Yeah, I just see videos about it, and I'm like, I guess that could be cool if I never played a game before.
I guess that'd be cool if they didn't invent Pong.
They didn't have the Wii and any other Sega Genesis or whatever.
This game stinks like Wii.
Wii. So I was like, all right, that sucks. And then they were like, okay, now we're having a formal banquet in. Remember that parking lot on campus? Literally, they're like, remember that parking lot on campus that had the cracked asphalt and the grass grew through the asphalt? You cut across it. Well, that's now a building. So They built it there. So I'm in this eating appetizers in this brand new building, and after I saw a city I didn't recognize, I felt like an alien or something. I felt like I was unfrozen 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah, it's like another dimension.
It was like slightly same, but kind of different.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody went back in time and sat on a butterfly, and now my whole world has changed.
They sealed up the asphalt.
They did, yeah.
With their asphalt.
With their asphalt. It was their fault, really. So,
Man.
So that's where we had it, and then there was this one guy there who, when I was a freshman, he was like a guy who never graduated. I don't know, big Bluto or whatever. He lived in the fraternity house. All he did was like smoke weed, do beer bongs in the morning.
Right.
Always have like girls over, you know, and when you're 18, you're like, this guy's cool. And then when I saw him, you know, now I'm in my mid 30s, and he's the same guy.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is not cool. And the sad part is he knew it. He knew he was he was like, you know, like a broken down man, even though he was the same kind of guy.
Right, right.
He was saying, you know, he walked up to us, hey guys, what you know, I guess I'm the only guy who peaked in college. And we all were like,
oh boy.
We all were like, looked at each other, and I was like, we all peaked in college. And he went, no, you didn't. You're doing great.
And you sucked in college.
You sucked. You were a loser.
Wow.
And then that same guy, it was like, he might be listening now. I don't know. He might not.
Oh, you put it in?
Yeah, I didn't put it in for him. But he was like, I heard you doing stand-up in New York.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah. He said, you know what? I've been doing a couple open mics myself. I'm like, oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut to a memory of me on my graduation day when he worked at the Funny Bone. I was the busboy.
Yeah.
If you guys never know the story, I didn't know what to do, how to start stand-up, so I went to the local comedy club, and they were like, you want a job? I was like, as a comedian? They're like, what? No. Washing dishes. We need somebody washing dishes.
You know, we are hiring comedians, actually. So, yeah, here, come on in.
Yeah. Do you have a resume?
Yeah.
Do you have a cover letter about how to be a comedian?
Training starts Monday.
Yeah, training starts Monday. Here's a comedian apron.
And a rubber chicken.
And rubber chicken. And then, so he was the waiter there, and I was the busboy. I worked my way up or down the busboy. And then, you know, I'm like picking up dishes from the tables, and I'm like, man, I'm in the business.
Can't wait to be discovered.
Right. And I remember like him there saying, you know what? Did a couple open mics. I think I'm gonna do this. That was 14 years ago or whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, I remember picking up a trash piece of trash, going, yeah, cool. And I was doing the same thing, but so whatever. And what else was there? Oh, and then he's like, "You're in New York, a lot of comedy up there." Yeah. You think I could come visit? No, I have a. I felt like that scene in Caddyshack when the Chevy Chase is talking to Bill Murray.
Yeah. Oh, what's the line? I know what you're talking about, though.
He's like, I heard you have a pool. Pool, yeah. Pond is better for you. You could be in the pond. That's what I felt like. I'm like, yeah, I have an apartment. Alley is better for you. You can sleep outside. My apartment is like really small, and I don't have any furniture, so I can't really have you here.
Oh man.
So weird of a guy you kind of know, and then they ask you to stay at their place. What would you do? Would you say sure? Or
If they asked to stay at my place,
if you just took one college class with them,
I'd probably be like, well, you know, my girlfriend. I would just say,
so you'd say polite no.
Yeah, my girlfriend probably wouldn't be comfortable with that, or something. I don't know. I wouldn't broadcast any.
You wouldn't have them stay over?
I don't know. I haven't had anyone ask that I didn't want to stay over yet.
Okay. Well,
I don't know.
he was hinting at it at me, and I kept saying, "Oh yeah, I don't even sleep in a bed myself. I just stand in a closet and close the door and lean my head against a hanger."
I've been rejected by people when I was trying to visit New York to look for places. And
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they would just say, "Well, I got a lot of roommates and not a lot of room," and people can just be like, "Oh, that makes sense. It's New York City."
Yeah, that's true. A lot of roommates, not a lot of room.
Mm-hmm.
So how close were you to these people?
Maybe it's
The same thing?
Same. But they were comedians.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I would probably just do that. I mean, it's weird, like for someone to ask to use your place, and you've never like spent the night together before.
Never, yeah. And then you're like, this guy probably won't ever leave.
You just get a frozen mango.
Yeah, everybody. Full disclosure, everybody. I developed this new technique. I don't want to say maybe I invented it, but
Oh man, that was so funny. I'm like, wait, why does his voice sound different?
well, it was an accident. It just slipped in my mouth.
I believe it.
So Maddie got all these chopped up mangoes for smoothies,
Mm-hmm.
and with the Soda Stream, it just comes out of hot water. Like our tap water.
Yeah.
So it always comes out warm, and warm seltzer's okay, but I like reached in the fridge for ice cubes. There was no ice cubes, but I saw these frozen mangoes. So I'm like, oh, let me pop these in. And I noticed they made the seltzer taste like mango.
Yeah.
Do you notice that?
Oh yeah.
So I made us a couple of mango seltzers.
It's great. But they're not melting like ice would, so you swallow the whole mango.
Yeah. Well, you get more seltzer that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Doesn't go flat.
Yeah, you get a good dessert. Speaking of, I'll refill this. So that is my part one, and then I have a story about my parents. But shout out to everyone who listens to this. There was one guy I saw who was like, "Me and my girlfriend listen to your podcast. It's okay." I'm like, "Please don't tell me about it. I don't care." He's like, I guess she didn't like me in college or something, so he's
Big fan.
Yeah, he's like, well, this guy, he's not really like what he was in college. He's nice on the podcast. Please stop talking. Please stop talking right now. I don't want to hear any of this.
That leads a little bit into something that happened to me this weekend, but I've heard a lot of more famous comedians say, like, just stop at "we listen."
Yes.
Or, "Hey, funny stuff," or "good show."
Unless you're a super fan, like some of our Patreons, I give us suggestions and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the Patreons know us inside and out.
And it's actually constructive
criticism that helps us, and they have ideas and stuff. That's good. But the acquaintance who listens to 2 episodes and forgets what it's about.
Imagine, I'll help you with, I'll do this. Like, if you're going to compliment, or if you're going to say something about the podcast, or maybe they go and see your stand-up and they want to say something about your stand-up, which you don't have to, by the way.
No, you don't have to give any
You don't
opinion.
have to say anything.
But
imagine you're saying something about some food somebody just made you.
Yeah.
Would you say, me and my girlfriend tried your food. It's okay.
It's okay. You know what it needs? A little more pepper. Like, screw you, man. I don't care.
Oh man.
But it's so funny how your impressions of people, like his friend or wife that knew me in college didn't really even know me. All she knew was like, I went out with her friend and ghosted her.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm a jerk.
Yep.
But I ghosted her because I was nervous. I couldn't. I didn't know.
If anything, you were on brand.
I was on brand back then. She didn't know. She didn't know I didn't really vibe with this person, but I was too nervous to have a formal breakup. So
So we're finding out you should have had this podcast 10 years ago.
I should have had it 10 years ago.
Oh, man. I had a this will get into my stuff. I did some headlining sets in Houston. I do a show last night, and a guy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, man, that was great." And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." He's like, "I'm so drunk, and I was thinking, hey, this guy, like, makes sense."
Okay.
And he's like,
interesting
and
compliment.
I was like, okay. And he's like, yeah, like, I'm like, man, I might be the only one that's getting it. And I'm like, thanks, man.
Oh, the only one.
Yeah. And it was a good set. But
Other people were laughing, right?
yeah.
Okay. But he's the only one. They were just laughing without getting it. That's what you do. When you don't get something, you go, I don't understand at all.
Oh, it was so funny. Each sentence he said just made it worse. I was waiting for him to be like, you were way better than the headliner, which was me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did Houston this weekend, and really great moment last night. I met Ronnie.
Oh, yeah. We have a handful of original super fans, and basically they're half of the Patreon, but she's one of the hardcore ones. She sends us gifts, and
Yes.
and we are slowly making our way through that Patreon list of meeting them in person. I think we
Yeah.
met most of them in person already.
Yeah, I can't express how great Ronnie is. She's obviously been very supportive. She was at all the Zoom shows we did, driving during them.
She's the pizza delivery woman, and then making the rounds and laughing when we needed her to.
Yeah, she was awesome, and she even got recognized by one of the comics on the show with me.
Oh, no way.
And he went, "Are you the one that would drive in the pizza car during the Zoom shows?" Like, she got recognized.
That's awesome.
It was so funny, and she was great. She was awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was cool to meet someone that listens to the podcast.
She posted these great photos, and I was like, man, I wish I was down there. It looked like a lot of fun.
She immediately was like, "I wish Andrew was here."
Oh, man.
Send Andrew my love and give him a hug and all this stuff. And she was saying, and I'm not gonna say everything that she said, but she was saying how much the podcast meant to her. It came at a perfect time. She told me she didn't like podcasts.
Wow.
And she was she was going through a lot of anxiety, found like 2 podcasts before ours, and she was like, "These are so boring." And
Oh, my God.
And they're not helping. And then she listened to ours and said it was funny, and it was like she had friends that were helping her through a very anxious time.
And now we're actually friends.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Full circle.
It was so awesome. So big shout out to Ronnie, and it was really wonderful to have her there. It was just fun all around to see someone that likes the podcast.
And if you guys are a fan of memes, she has, I think, Vampirilla something.
Yes.
Search, I don't want to get the numbers wrong, so search our podcast, or we repost her stuff too.
Yeah, and it was really cool to finally meet her. So thanks again, Ronnie. It was awesome.
That's cool. Did she bring you any presents?
No, I gave her presents.
Oh,
this
I
time.
saw. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw
her-
those stickers. I didn't know you had your own.
I got new stickers. I gave her a bunch of stress balls.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it was just cool. It was great to see her.
She was one of the first people to order one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really, once again, awesome to see her. But there was my big thing is I've got reels in the
Instagram Reels.
Instagram Reels.
Yeah, it's a video thing on Instagram that he didn't have.
Yes. I mean, it's been
You took it personally.
crusade through the podcast. It's been brought up a bunch of times. Listeners have brought it up to me when they've seen me.
Oh, wow.
Last time I saw Kelly, she brought it up.
Okay.
And big shout out to Glennis LaRoe, who is a comic here in the city. She also had this issue of no reels. It just never showed up. And she made a new account.
Okay.
And she was like, "Hey, this worked. And it's the only thing that's worked."
Oh.
And I've been trying for a year. So I was like, I don't want to start over, but I'll do it. So I have started over.
Okay.
I have a new Instagram account.
Did you delete the old one?
It's not deleted. It's just advertising the new one.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah. It was funny because the way I found out was a Patreon. Elena messaged. I had a group message, and she just sent a link and said, "I think you've been hacked." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh God, poor Steve." And then you said, "No, that's actually me." And I was like, "What?" And then it has your same profile picture. You got to change the picture.
I changed
oh, okay,
it.
good.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
all right.
I changed it. The old account says follow the new account as the profile picture,
Okay, good.
and everything points to the new account. It's like in the Odyssey when they open the bag of wind, like
You had a tweet like that, right?
no.
I heard you say the bag of wind before. Oh, was that on Instagram story?
It was on Instagram Live when I was plugging the new account.
I was like, bag of wind.
You don't know in the Odyssey?
I do, but why is that your go-to? The reference from 1000 BC? The first known written work?
I'm starting to see why they didn't give me reels. My references involve Cyclops.
The references involve the predating the written word.
One of this guy's favorite books involves a kraken. It's not in the asphalt.
Uh-oh. Plumber cracking.
Plumber's kraken.
Plumber's cracking. You don't want that in your house.
No. I can see his tentacles.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so I'm trying to get people over to the new account. It's way more anxiety than I don't know what I mean, it's so much anxiety. And just trying to get people over to this new one and not look like a loser on the new one.
Well, it looks good. You're doing good stories on there.
Yeah.
My only note is post those Colbert clips. Your first clip was you talking about the background of a stage.
Well, my thinking was I have 0 followers right now.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would get any traction with 0 followers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So I'm trying to get. I'm right now. I'm at 800.
Okay.
In 3 days, that's pretty decent.
It's pretty good.
I'm hoping to get 1,000 by the end of the week. So
That's
follow
cool.
Steven Rogers Comedy.
It's exciting.
Everybody.
It's exciting stuff.
It's exciting.
It feels like a new account. You're posting like how Joe List does with talking to the camera and stuff. You never used to do that. Where you're like talking to the camera and you say, "Hey guys,
oh yeah,
I'm at Houston tonight."
Yeah.
This new account has rejuvenated your social media.
It's rejuvenated me. I already making mental note of what I'm going to take from this episode as reels.
Oh my gosh! Well, you need a pen?
I know what one it is already. But yeah. So please come over to there. But yeah, it's been an anxiety nightmare.
And that started Friday. Now it's Sunday.
It's Sunday.
It's
yeah.
only been 24 hours.
It's been
48 hours.
48 hours. I got to 800. That's not bad.
It's good, man. It's good.
Yeah.
It feels good when you get a lot of followers at once, doesn't it? It feels.
Yeah, I mean they're the same ones.
I know, but now you got those new notifications.
It was cool. At one point, I turned on my phone. It said 53 new followers. I was like, "Good lord,
I'm popular."
And what was cool was seeing which blue checkmark people came over from the other. That was exciting.
That's nice.
Yeah,
it's a good feeling.
Yeah. So.
Oh, and shout out to Jamie and Ed Delaney who promoted your account. I reposted them on the Patreon or the Panic Attacking account.
Thank you. Ronnie did it as well. Thank you. It's been a whole thing.
Yeah,
appreciate it, everybody.
Pretty funny stuff. You're like starting from 0, but you're also starting from 0. I feel like you're starting a real social media journey. When you really,
my last account was like somebody you went to college with.
It is like in the Bag of Wind. Is that where he gets lost in the sea?
And the Odyssey is when he gets lost in the sea. And
is that related to a Bag of Wind?
The Bag of Wind is when he's there. Home is in view.
Okay.
And then they had a bag of wind, and then the guy and he falls asleep, and the crew goes.
Who was that? Sean Donnelly.
The bag of break wind, and no, the crew of the ship while Odysseus is sleeping, goes, "Oh, what's in this bag?"
Oh.
And they open the bag, and it sends them all the way to the beginning of their journey.
Man, what a mind game.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand what your reference is now.
So it's like having, I mean, I didn't have a lot of followers, but it's like being like, oh, I think I know how I'm gonna do social media now, and then the bag of wind opens and I have 0.
Well, to me, it's like your old account was you being lost. Remember, he gets lost for no reason. That was you before, just making Instagram TV and whatever.
Well, I didn't have reels.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You're just floating around. Now you're on the fast track to, whatever
Yeah, IGTV is like Medusa. She's also in the Odyssey.
Oh, really? I love the author Homer. He's done a lot.
Yeah.
This guy, wrote 2 poems and then started a family. Turned
Loves
yellow.
donuts. He turned yellow. He got Springfield out of that dome in the movie.
I was watching this documentary. I mean, it's pretty boring, maybe, but it relates to the Odyssey. Where's the one with they take over the Troy? That's the Odyssey or the Iliad?
I think the Iliad.
The first sequel in literature. Isn't that crazy? The Odyssey's after the Iliad. They float around, or they going to the Troy?
I don't know. I thought the Odyssey was my favorite of the 2.
Yeah,
Iliad's Achilles' heel.
Yeah, that's had the Achilles. So, oh, that's right. In the Iliad, they talks about the Trojan horse and Troy and all that. I was reading like in ancient Rome.
Yeah.
You think that's old.
Yeah.
But they were like, the city asked for help. And you know how Rome, for some reason, traced its origin story to Troy?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I remember that. I didn't.
Because they wanted they didn't want to just be known as some weird place in Italy. They were like, hey, we're real. So they picked Troy. And from the Iliad, because that was the main work back then.
Yeah.
That was an old work back then.
Yeah.
In ancient Rome, that was old.
And I referenced it today.
And you referenced it
in 2021.
And this city wanted help. And Syracuse, or I'm sorry, it's
no, you're thinking of my.
You're just thinking of.
But they needed help in Syracuse. They didn't have reels.
They had to go to the mall and perform at the Funny Bone. There was a town called Syracuse in this island of Sicily, which is modern Sicily, and Carthage was there, and they were like, Rome, we need help, and they're like, why should we help you? And they opened the Iliad and said, here's the list of everyone that attacked Troy. We're not on it.
Wow.
And then Rome was like, all right, you make a good point.
Wow.
And they helped, and that started the Punic War. But
that's the only time that not being on the list gets you in.
Yeah. But there must have only been like 2 books back then, because everyone was obsessed with these books in ancient Rome.
Yeah, it was that one, and if you give a mouse a cookie.
The Stinky Cheese Man. And Clifford, the big red dog.
The Trojan horse and the big red dog.
Trojan horse and the big red dog.
Oh, man. So funny.
So I'm happy for you, man. It's only gonna be going up from here. You know?
Please, if you're listening and love the podcast, or if you just think it's okay, follow Steven Rogers Comedy.
Follow me. Don't grow our reels together.
Yes.
Real talk.
Real deal.
Real deal. New deal. So, any other highlights from the show?
I'll say this: the album's coming together.
Oh, nice.
It's feeling really good, and I'm excited about it. Another anxiety thing: I get a text from Brian Regan.
No way.
He's like, "Hey, man."
Previous guest on the show.
Previous guest, good buddy of the show. He texts me. He goes, "Hey, are you free?" And I'm like, "Uh-oh."
Free to do what?
Well, it was just he wanted to talk.
Oh, gotcha.
And I'm like, okay. I'm not sure. I see him next week. Maybe the shows are canceled, and I'm like, but no big deal. And we get on the phone, and he, I had a feeling of what it is, and this is how nice of a man he is. He was invited to come to my album recording.
Okay.
And I knew he probably wouldn't be able to make it. So he was calling to let me know that he couldn't make it because of his high school reunion.
Wow.
So the whole time you're talking, I'm like, oh my God, it's reunion palooza.
Reunion season.
Yeah. So he calls me. Hilarious.
Man, can you imagine him at his high school reunion?
Yeah, I know.
Hey, he's like the king of the world.
King of the just there's a line to meet him probably at the high school reunion.
Like he comes in, everyone kneels like in Batman vs Superman, where where Superman lands and those like army guys kneel for no reason.
Yeah. Then he comes down quick. But yeah, so he was so nice. He's the greatest man ever. He was very nice to say he couldn't make it, and he told me how much he tried. He looked at flights to see if he could come to one show, and just a big shout out to how great of a guy he is. But he calls me and goes, "Look, I'm gonna cut right to the quick. I need a kidney."
Oh. Man. What a line.
Killer line. You think now that's where you and I would end on how funny we are, right? That's a great opening line. And I go, "Oh, sure. Yeah, whatever you need, Brian." And he goes, "And I already knew you were going to say yes. So I already have a FedEx being sent to you." And he was like, "You just plop it in the box. There's already the return address and you send it back to me."
You just need to stop by 7-Eleven and get some ice.
I'm trying to spar well with him, and I go, "All right, do you have any numbing drugs?" And he goes, "I do, but they're all for me when I put it in." So
oh my God.
Then he tells me, the news that he can't make it, which I totally understand, and I just appreciate him being so thoughtful.
Right.
And then I go, "All right, well, I guess I'll just have to do the recording at your reunion." And then he laughs, and he goes, without skipping a beat, he goes, "Without a kidney?"
Be like, "Yeah, that's my hook." And they used the hook to get it out.
Funniest man ever. So shout out to him. But that was a little, I could see the anxiety on his end of having to tell me that he couldn't make it.
Well, that's so nice of him.
Very nice man.
I mean, if it was me in college, I would have just ghosted you.
Yeah, and then Caitlin would have been like, I listened to his podcast, and it's okay.
He doesn't talk enough about how he ghosted my friend 12 years ago.
Oh, man. So funny.
Oh, my God. Wow. Man, what a guy.
Yeah.
Did you tell me you were headlining? Because I know you'd be happy to hear that.
No, I didn't. I see him this weekend in Richmond. I'm gonna be.
No way.
I'm opening for him in Richmond.
What place?
It's the Energy Center or something.
Oh, right. Right. We looked at that photo.
Yeah, and
that's right downtown where the trash cans used to burn and stuff. It's right there.
Yeah, we're gonna go do it next to the asphalt. Oh man.
Yeah, it's right in that rejuvenated zone.
Real Richmond themed episode today.
Yeah, real rich experience.
rich mound of material. What about you? Anything else?
So I got one more part of the Virginia visiting story. So we do the reunion stuff. Of course, I'm like, I'm not going to get too crazy. I'm just going to I'm not going to do any shots. I'm not going to do any liquor. I'm just going to stick to beer. So I ended up having like 24 beers. I'm like all bloated on, at the end of the week. Literally my stomach is like bulging out from all the beer and appetizers or whatever barbecue we ate. So we go, my parents pick me up at the hotel Sunday. We go back to their like river place, which was like an hour down. And we, when you're in New York and stuff, you see on restaurant menus oysters from the part of Virginia where Andrew's parents live. And Maddie and I will eat them. We're like, these are great. I can't believe they're from that part of Virginia where your parents live. And I'm like, I know. I never have oysters down there. So,
I'm just picturing the advertisement, and it shows you as a little boy holding two hands, and it has them cut off at like the waist, like a Charlie Brown cartoon.
Wait, what? Wait, what? What?
The oysters were from where Andrew's parents live, and then it has a picture of you as a little kid holding your parents' hands.
Gotcha. Yeah. What's that catchphrase from Charlie Brown?
Womp womp.
I guess so.
Good grief.
Good grief. Oh, good grief. That's what I was looking for. Good grief. No one has ever said that. No, I've never heard anyone else say that aside from him.
No. Good God.
Good God. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Your girlfriend says that a lot.
Good Lord.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I can see that.
So
oysters.
So gave my mom a heads up. Hey, I've been hearing oysters, and she's like, all right. She never heard of anything like that either. Anyone lives there. So she found this.
They should be shucking right near her doorstep.
You'd think you'd be driving down, shells would be on the side of the highway, and we're like, oh, storm's coming through. Shells are dropping from the sky. We gotta turn the wipers on to wipe the shells off.
Oh, it's like the Watchmen when they have the little raining of squids.
Yeah. Or the end of Magnolia with the frogs.
Oh man.
So my mom found this. Did the research and found this only place that was open on Sunday because that's when it was. And she called the guy, and the place was turned out to be 3 miles down from where they live. And the guy on the phone goes, "How many do you want?" And she goes, "Just a dozen." Well, that's a long drive for a dozen. It's 3 miles. And this place did not have a website. I just came up on Google, B&W's oysters and stuff.
Yeah.
Oysters and crabs. So I guess in Virginia, our months that end in R are oyster season because they're colder. And I guess if they're warm and you eat an oyster, you die probably. But
months that end in R. So
like November, October.
November, October, December.
And that's it, right?
Maybe September then.
Well, yeah, September, yeah.
Wow.
But that's only our months, right?
Yeah.
But those are the same months you can't eat crab.
Wow.
So can,
Y months are crab months.
Or the other month, what, E or Arch.
If it ends in arch and oon.
You're good. You're goon. So me and my mom get in the car. We drive to it ended up being a long drive because the country roads are take you home.
Yeah, to the place that I love.
Well, Oyster Town.
Won't you take me to
Oyster Town? Driving for a while, it was like a scene out of a movie about a comedy about the country because we're driving along and then this brake slam and I'm in the back seat and I go jerking forward, looking up, and they're on the road. There's weird animals crossing.
Oh wow!
Was the first time it was a turkey walking across the road, and then we're driving. My mom goes, "Arr!" My head slams in the seat. It's some kind of bird, and then then it's a deer and a squirrel. It's so many animals crossing the road. So that's why it took forever because they're going in the boonies with all these animals.
Just trying to get to work.
I'm car sick. I'm not feeling well because of the constant slamming on the brakes and looking at a weird creature. that could go through the windshield and kill us.
They might not even be there. You're just having so much head trauma.
Right, yeah, probably. So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I don't even care about the oysters anymore. So then we pull into, we like get lost, and I'm like, I think we passed it. She's like, I didn't see any sign, and I'm like, I don't think there was a sign. So we have to like look at the mailboxes because the numbers went down because in the country the houses are so far away because you have all the land, so you can't see an address. So you have to look at the numbers on mailboxes, and we count down, and then we see the mailbox that matches the thing we found on Google.
Right.
And it's just literally a shack, no sign. Literally looks like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh boy.
And my mom's like, they don't look open. I'm like, well, you just called the guy. He said they were open. She's like, all right, let me call him back. So she calls the number, and she's like, uh-huh. She gets out of the car and just walks into the building. Doesn't tell us what she's doing. And then I could see through the windows her like walking around, like, in Rear Window, the Hitchcock movie where you see the woman walk and then you see a killer in there. And I'm like, oh my God, my mom, is this a trap?
See a guy with a big net?
Yeah. A net and like a pole.
It's like Scooby-Doo when they're going through the doors.
Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. The whatever music plays on there going through the doors. It plays like Beatles music or whatever.
Oh man.
So she opens the door and waves me in. So I get out of the car. I'm like, Maddie, you want to go in? She's like, hell no. Sits in the car. So I go in this shack. Everything's like dripping and wet. It's all like white cinder block, painted cinder block kind of place.
Okay, yeah.
And she's like, through here. And I go through a door, and there's like a sink area. It's like sinks.
Are there other people?
No, it's empty.
Oh, boy.
So I'm like, this is very weird. And then she opens through the sink area another door, and there's literally, I took a picture, like bushels on bushels.
Wow.
And inside of these bushels are oysters.
Wow.
Everywhere where you're eating at a restaurant, you see on a menu, it's probably coming from this place.
Wow.
It was like the most bushels I've ever seen, and it's not refrigerated. It's just bushels of oysters. But I read that they can live in those shells.
And it doesn't affect.
They're like alive in there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and she's like, grab a dozen. And I'm like, what?
But
So
there's nobody there?
there's nobody there. So it's the honor system. You pick a dozen, and she's on the phone with the guy. She's like, all right, we got a dozen. And he's like, all right, leave me a 10 under the counter. So she just leaves a 10. We get the dozen. We get in the car, drive home. And then she gets a call on the phone, and it's the guy, and he says, you didn't pay me $10. And she said, yeah, it's under the counter. It's I didn't look under the counter. Like, wait, where did you look? She's like, well, go look. And he's like, I'm on my way home. I don't want to drive back for $10. Like, what on earth? What's going on? So craziest shopping situation.
You could have robbed him blind.
Yeah.
You paid him and he was still blind.
He's still blind. And $10 for a dozen oysters is a good price. And these were huge. And like the bag was so heavy carrying a dozen. So I'm like, all right, time for oysters.
Were they good?
So we get one. Like they're fresh out of the whatever water is around, like Potomac or whatever, covered in goo and crap. The outside is so dirty, and it's got clams growing and barnacles on the shells.
Oh man.
So I'm like, so I'm like putting it down, and then like, of course we don't have any oyster shucking knives or anything. So I'm using like a butter knife trying to get this open. It's not like 20 minutes.
Oh, shucks.
Shucks. Good grief.
You gotta be shucking kidding me.
I like finally get one open. It took like 20 minutes. My hand is like cut up from the shells and the barnacles and everything.
Yeah.
Finally open, and then it looks weird, because the oyster, and I'm like, it's warm. And then I'm like, let me have Maddie try this one.
How do you feel?
Yeah, she's eating it. I'm like looking. So she does okay. So I'm trying to open another one. 20 minutes later, I finally get the shell open again, and flies out of my hand and falls down. I have to pick it up.
Sam eats it.
Sam eats it.
The dog.
The dog, yeah. Oh, Stan, yeah.
Stan, sorry.
So I get the third one open like 20 minutes later, and I'm like, I think I'm done here. I don't. They taste warm, and it's weird. They're just been alive, and I got them out of a shack. I don't really know. Feel really weird eating these. So my dad's like, all right. I'm like, and he doesn't eat oysters. My mom doesn't.
Right.
So.
Oh, they don't eat. They're not eating them.
No, they got them for me and Maddie.
Wow, that's nice.
I think she ate.
Your mom risked her life for your
Yeah,
oysters.
for this meal. So Maddie ate 2, I ate 1, and they were so big. It was like too big, you know? It
Yeah.
was like a big blob of oyster. So gross, and it was warm.
So when you get oysters in New York and they're from there, they must be taking them out and putting them in little shells and spreading it out.
Yeah, they
If
cut
yours
it
are so
open.
big.
They cut it. Well, it's the region, and so the ones you get that are small are from the West Coast.
Oh,
These big, fat, gross ones are from Virginia.
sounds about right.
So my dad, I'm like, I don't know what to do with these. So my dad's like, let's throw them back in the river, because they live on the river. So we walked down, we just chucked the one. I felt like the governor in the execution line.
Yeah, you're like pardoning a turkey on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Flopping these things. They're probably all dead by now, but but then in my head, I'm like, hey, maybe they'll start a family and we can eat these.
Oh, you want the little babies,
The little ones.
the younglings.
Yeah. Oh my god, but I did feel good plopping them in, plopping them back in the water.
It always feels good plopping a couple in the water.
Right.
Did you feel relieved?
I did, yeah. You know,
Lighter.
the toilet was clogged, but oh my god.
Oh boy. So we got an email from Matt Moves Mountains, or might be slightly.
Wait, who's it really from?
I thought Matt Moves Mountains. Yeah,
No, he wrote to us. He said he's not might be slightly.
he's not.
No.
Oh, I misread that message then. So might be slightly, who we have no idea,
Mystery man.
or woman. Might be. Panic attackers. I was walking around the city with my family, and we decided to stop at a restaurant to eat dinner. We had our $1,200 stroller with us, so I immediately was worried about where we would put it at the restaurant.
Ooh.
It was a half outdoor, half indoor place, and they said we could leave the stroller under the outdoor stairs by a bunch of propane tanks. They continued to walk us upstairs, down a hall, around a corner, past another bar, way in the back, out of stroller sight, and too far to casually get up and check on it. Instead of enjoying the meal, I spent the entire time wondering if our stroller was okay and not getting bumped into, beer spilled on or stolen. Any advice on how to handle that situation? Thanks. Might be slightly.
What do you think?
I mean, it must not be. If it's 1,200, it's probably not foldable. Well, if it is foldable, it's probably too heavy. And they would have they must have known, hey, we're not going to have that person bring it through this maze that we're taking them through to take them to a table. They should have known that you were nervous about the stroller, which you expressed to them, and put you in view of it.
Well, there's some weird honor system I've noticed, especially at the beach. Like, if
Yeah.
you ever go to the beach, you know, the part where the pavement starts with the sand, there's like weird things there that people leave before they go in the sand. So I see strollers there,
Oh,
people's shoes, a bicycle, like nothing's locked up.
right.
It's all like kind of like yeah, we're all cool, man, you know.
I guess I've never heard of strollers being stolen, but I'm not a parent, so I'm not hearing that kind of...
Apparently.
But I'm not sure. I think... I mean, we don't know what you did might be if you kept getting up and checking or not.
That's what I would have done.
Obviously, that's all I would have been doing. But, yeah, I would have asked for another table to be in view, knowing what I know now. But I probably would have sat there the entire meal just being like, oh, God, it's going to be gone when we get back.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it too much about baby strollers being taken.
More bikes.
Because if you see a baby stroller that's empty, you're like, either somebody's coming back for it or this is haunted. This is a ghost baby in here with a ghost mom pushing this.
True. I'd be like, I hope that baby's okay. Like,
Yeah, and I feel like people are nervous because I feel like there's a weird psychological thing where if there's people around and you see a stroller, you're gonna the prospect thief is gonna be like, well, one of these people by here is gonna be the owner.
True, and you can't steal a stroller without a baby.
Yeah, right.
Like, so
no thief is carrying a baby around in their backpack saying, "Oh, here we go, put him back in here, strap him in, time for our escape."
It's kind of like when the dog is tied up outside of a restaurant or a store. It's just an honor system there too.
Yeah. If it's during the day, I think it's okay because, like I said, I think that's why you can do that at the beach because everyone's like, no one knows whose it is and who's watching. You know,
Right.
You never no one wants to be the guy who takes something and you hear, "Hey, wait!"
Right. Oh God, that sent me chills just now.
That'd be horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, wait! Leave a 10 for the oysters.
Yeah. Then there's like a chase sequence of a guy pushing a stroller and being chased with somebody else pushing a stroller.
He's throwing rattles behind him.
Yeah, dude. Like an old blankie to have you slip on.
Throws a pacifier.
It lands in the mouth. Oh man. So I think don't worry about it. As long as there's people around looking at it, I think you're okay. But I would also be nervous about that.
Yeah, I
would seriously go to a different place.
great point about it being the daytime. It sounds like this took place in New York City, or a popular city that's got indoor and outdoor right now. So it's probably crowded and, like you're saying, hard to get away with something like that.
Yeah.
But don't do anything that would take you away from your family time and being relaxed and enjoying your meal with, and you also got a baby to worry about.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry they put you through that, might be. But, next time, my only advice or guess is to be like, no, I need to be in view of the stroller.
Yeah, and then just wait for an open table.
Yeah.
That could be another solution as well.
Yeah, seeing how long the wait is.
Yes. All right. Well, good best of luck to you, Might Be. Thanks for writing in. Anyone else wants their anxiety issues addressed, email panicattackingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll get into it on the next episode or future episode. So we have one thing from Reddit that I want to talk about because we've been checking on the anxiety subreddit. I think this is a good one. The topic says big paragraphs. I don't know whether it's anxiety, but big paragraphs make me want to cry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that too. Whenever I see a big paragraph, I'm like, well, I guess I'm not reading this.
That's what I do.
My eyes on focus and roll in the back of my head. I'm like, anything but this.
Any business or adult message or email, I'm like, oh God, this is going to take me weeks to just finish this one paragraph.
A lot of times if it's a big paragraph, I'll just read the first sentence and the last, and then I'll just answer that. And if the middle is important, hopefully they'll bring it up again.
Thanks for getting back to us, Andrew, but you didn't acknowledge your test results.
You just acknowledged a hello and a goodbye?
Oh man, yeah. I think I think it's it really packs a punch.
Very daunting.
It's daunting. It's like the bigger the paragraph, the more worries you can fill it with.
Yeah. What's lurking in there? The Minotaur? Odysseus?
I saw that. Yeah.
Or the Cyclops?
Medusa. There was a lot of things on that trip.
Medusa oblongata.
Oh man.
Or just if you're reading this and you have big paragraphs, just break them up into little ones.
Break them up into little ones, or say, "I'm sorry about the paragraph." Lead the paragraph with, "Hey, sorry about the paragraph."
Or have it at the end of the paragraph. By the way, if you didn't read the big paragraph, this is the gist.
Oh.
It's called TLDR. Too long, didn't read. Put that in there.
Nice.
I like saying those. But yeah, easily paragraphs that are smaller, easily digestible, less intimidating. I read 100 little paragraphs than one big one.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord, is this the Bible? Like, is there an index? Topic sentences, people.
Of course.
So, I actually gonna have to go soon.
All right. Well, that's we got to wrap up, and if we didn't get to your email, it probably wasn't sent by the time we recorded this, but we'll get to all the extra leftover ones next episode.
Yes, thank you everyone for listening, and stay tuned for the outro. And like and subscribe.
Thank you, everybody.